Joining us now on 4029 News on the Record is Professor John C. Davis from the University of Arkansas. Thanks for being here with us. Many people are calling the debate a big night for Kamala Harris. Do you think it will move the needle across the country and here in Arkansas?
Thanks for having me. Going into the debate, I think both candidates had different tasks and different goals that they wanted to accomplish. So going into debate night, I think former President Trump probably had a goal of staying on script and focusing primarily on immigration and border security, as well as financial issues, particularly inflation. The economy and immigration seem to be two issues that his campaign and his party are polling higher in and are stronger on in regards to voting, the voting public, as polls are indicating. I think Vice President Harris had the challenge of introducing herself to the American public. In many cases, we're just not that familiar with her. And also in trying to both chart a future path while also addressing the fact that she's currently the VP of Joe Biden. And so she's having to distance herself in some ways from her ticket partner from 2020, while also claiming credit in some of the things that they've taken great pride in doing in the country. She had a higher bar, I think, to pass, and I think she surpassed it. And I think largely to do with the fact that President Trump, former President Trump, struggled to stay on task, struggled to stay on message. In political science, we have a term called issue ownership. And we see that not only are immigration and financial economic issues strengths for the GOP today and for former President Trump today, but they have been for some time for Republicans. And so issue ownership is this idea that you go into a debate like this, or you run a campaign and you hammer those issues and you stay on script. I don't think former President Trump did that the way that he may have intended going in. I think Vice President Harris, former prosecutor, I think knew how to sort of push his buttons and get him a little off track and off kilter. I was not surprised to see that the Harris campaign express interest in having a second debate almost immediately after the first. I would be surprised, doesn't say it won't happen, but I'd be surprised if the Trump campaign wants to repeat what we saw here a few nights ago. In terms of moving the needle in the polling, we're such a hyper-partisan, polarized voting public right now. I think if you went into that debate leaning one way or the other, you're still in those camps. I think there's a small slither, frankly, of independent, undecided voters, a very small slither. It's a smaller number than we see in polls. A lot of us indicate that we're independent or undecided. A lot of those folks are, in fact, leaning one way and will probably go back home to their home party in the weeks ahead. But for the small slither of those who are truly undecided, maybe even undecided on whether or not to vote, I would be surprised if Harris didn't gain some ground there. And I would be surprised if Trump didn't find his support among that small slither of the American public, the electorate, a little softer today. That being said, these are also folks who you have to mobilize and you have to get out to vote. These are folks in some of these battleground states. In fact, the election could very well be decided by a few tens of thousands of folks in a few key states, given the Electoral College map. So I don't know that this really disproportionately advantages VP Harris going into the weeks ahead. I think she still has to craft a message. She has to keep hitting home on policy. She has to have that delicate dance between being in the current administration with also trying to chart a path forward. And I think if you're former President Trump, you're looking for ways to stay on message, stay on task, get away from the conspiracy theories, avoid talking and relitigating the 2020 election. These things that really got him off track on debate night.
What do you feel like each candidate did well, and was there a clear winner?
You know, it's never mine to say who wins or who loses these things. What I did do is I looked real closely at the polling immediately after the debate, and in some cases, even during, there were some small focus groups that were being conducted in real time, and particularly focused on these independent and or undecided voters. And what I think we were seeing were those who were watching the debate who were somewhat objective. It's politics. We're never completely objective, but For those that were really kind of in the middle of this thing and didn't have a dog in the hunt, so to speak, it looked like Harris was the clear favorite among those folks. Now, the interesting thing I saw in a lot of those polls and focus groups was that it didn't really necessarily tilt the needle in so much as that they were necessarily going to vote for Harris, that they were ready to commit there. And I think that speaks back to this idea that there's still several weeks ahead. And VP Harris is our vice president and a former U.S. senator, but it's still relatively unknown to if we compare her to former President Trump, who has considerable name recognition and really a brand. You either like him or don't like him, but you've assessed him. With VP Harris, she still has a task of really communicating a message and introducing herself to the public. I think she did a little bit of that the other night, and I think that probably helped her. And we'll probably see a little bump in the polls. I don't know if it's a short-lived bump for her. Oftentimes these debates kind of wash after a couple of weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that, where the polls kind of level out, the effects of the debate kind of wane over time. But a lot of it is what we're doing right now, where we're analyzing this. And the American public watched the debate, and now they've had time to think about the debate and think about what was discussed. And that's sometimes when we see these polls either slide off, and it's almost as if this thing never happened, or they seem to stick with the American public. Historically, a lot of times the analysis after the debate has a significant amount to do with whether or not we continue to discuss or weigh of any of importance these presidential debates.
If President Trump wins in November, do you see cabinet spots for Governor Sanders and Senator Cotton?
No, former President Trump's always full of surprises. I don't think there's any denying that. I do recall in 2016 when at that time Donald Trump had defeated Secretary Clinton in the months leading up to his transition and taking office in January of 17, that there was talk then of Senator Cotton in particular being considered for a certain position. It would not surprise me one bit if we see Senator Cotton on a short list, given his military credentials, his involvement in foreign relations in regards to his Senate career so far. Would not surprise me at all. I think Governor Sanders is a trusted ally of former President Trump. She's proven to be an effective communicator for his administration through the years. And while all accounts she enjoys being governor, I've not seen anything to indicate otherwise. It could be that there is a pull. It may be that someone on the transition team reaches out to her, and she's already been vetted. So it may be that they look at her for some sort of position. Now, which one, I'm not really sure. Given her background and credentials, it's hard to say, what role, if it's a cabinet position, she would conduct. But I think if a president of the United States asks you to serve on his cabinet, even if you're leading a state that you care deeply about, that'd be a tough thing to turn down. So time will tell, but I would not be surprised at all. I frankly had her on my short list as a VP pick for former President Trump. So it would not surprise me at all if we see her name floated, at least in the media in the months leading up to Trump's return to the White House, should that occur following November.
Professor, thanks for joining us.